What if I told you the CIA tried to off Fidel Castro? Not with guns, but with exploding seashells, poison cigars, fungus-ridden wetsuits, even chemicals to make his signature beard fall out. You won't believe how deep the rabbit hole of assassination plots went. Stay tuned, because the CIA's attempts were stranger than fiction. For decades, Fidel Castro lived with the knowledge he was America's most wanted target. The CIA reportedly hatched dozens of schemes, 8 confirmed by the infamous Church Committee, and Cuban intelligence claimed over 600 in total. Today, we dive into the wildest, most bizarre and surprisingly real CIA assassination plots. 1. The poisoned cigar. Castro's love of cigars was legendary, so it only made sense the CIA tried to turn that habit deadly. In October 1960, the CIA's Technical Services Division contaminated a box of his favorite cigars with botulinum toxin, a poison so potent that smoking it once could kill. But here's the kicker. While records confirm the cigars were prepared and delivered to someone, in February 1961, there's no evidence they ever made it to Castro. The more sensational exploding cigar tale probably stems from tabloid myth. Reports say a plot emerged in 1966 during Castro's UN visit, but historians consider it exaggeration or distraction. Still, it's fun to imagine. 2. The Mafia and the Ice Cream Plot. A year later, in 1961, the CIA turned to the Mafia and ice cream. They devised a plan to poison Castro's frozen treat, getting hitmen to slip a toxin-laced pill into his cone or milkshake through a restaurant contact. But things went sideways. The pill froze solid in the ice cream freezer and even shattered, so it never reached Castro. Retired Cuban security chief Fabian Escalante later said this was the closest the CIA got to killing Fidel. 3. Exploding Seashell. Here's where it gets almost comical. Castro loved underwater explorations, so in 1963, CIA operatives reportedly designed a beautiful seashell rigged as an underwater bomb. It was meant to sit in reefs where Castro dove he'd pick it up and trigger an explosion. But engineers hit a snag. There was no shell both eye-catching enough to tempt Castro and big enough to pack a powerful charge. So the idea was scrapped. Still, the audacity buying mollusk reference books to figure out which shell might work. 4. Fungus Wet Suit and poisonous gear. Not content with just an explosive shell, the CIA devised another plan: a poison wet suit. They bought a diving suit, dusted its interior with fungus to cause debilitating Madura foot disease, and contaminated the breathing apparatus with tuberculosis bacteria. The twist? Castro was set to receive a wetsuit as a gift, courtesy of lawyer James Donovan, central to the Bay of Pigs prisoner negotiation. By the time the CIA completed their work, Donovan had already gifted an ordinary suit. So the contaminated suit never left the lab. Castro got his gift hand. His lungs stayed disease-free. 5. Beard fallout, Thallium shoe plot. Castro's beard, iconic, central to his image. In 1960, the CIA devised a plan to destroy it, not kill him, but humiliate him. They planned to dust his shoes with thallium salts when he left them out for shine, causing hair loss, beard, eyebrows, all gone. But predictably, Castro canceled the trip. The plan, like many others, never came to pass. Still, the CIA's logic rings chillingly true. Image destruction as a weapon. 6. The LSD Perfume Sneak. Now, escalate to psychological warfare. The CIA considered spraying Castro's radio broadcast studio with an aerosol that mimicked LSD, hoping disoriented Castro would humiliate himself while on air. But tests found the chemical unreliable, risky, unpredictable, and ultimately abandoned. No LSD-lusted leader's meltdown ever aired. 7. The Weaponized Lover. Marita Lorenz. Now we enter spy thriller territory. Marita Lorenza, German-American who'd been romantically involved with Castro in 1959. claimed the CIA recruited her to seduce and poison him. She says E. Howard Hunt supplied botulinum toxin pills, stuff Lorenz said was disguised in cold cream. But when she tried to administer it, they'd gunked up in the tube. Faced with bombed pills and her own conscience, Lorenz walked in, waited for Castro, but couldn't do it. Castro, allegedly sensing her mission, asked, "Did you come here to kill me?" She admitted she had. His reply, "That's good," is bone-chilling. He even handed her his pistol to finish the job, but she couldn't. They allegedly made love, and no shot was fired. 8. Hypodermic Pen and Mafia hitmen. It gets darker. The CIA enlisted Cuban exile Major Rolando Cabela, codenamed A.M. Lash, and gave him a hypodermic pen to kill Castro. But Cabela reportedly dismissed the pen as too crude and didn't take it to Cuba. And in true Mafia movie style, the CIA later recruited mob bosses Johnny Roselli, Sam Giancana, Santo Trafficante to assassinate Castro in gangster-style hits. Gambling world muscle, underworld ties in Cuba, and the CIA working with Mafia funds to plot murder. It's gripping, sinister, and part of Operation Mongoose. 9. The explosive Podium. Even decades later, plots persisted. In 2000, when Castro traveled to Panama, someone planted 90 kilograms of explosives under his speaking podium. Security discovered and disarmed the bomb before he spoke. This, apparently the last US-linked assassination plot, was the final act in a 4-decade-long covert obsession. Confirmed CIA records list at least 8 major plots between 1960 and 1965. The obsession with killing a foreign head of state speaks volumes. The Church Committee's 1975 hearings revealed broader Operation Mongoose efforts. Propaganda, sabotage, assassination that spanned administrations. It wasn't just bombs, it was psychological ops, humiliating LSD sprayers, beard-stripping chemicals, and image-busting tools, all of which raises uncomfortable questions. We think of the Cold War as blue versus red, but American tactics were sometimes darker than Soviet plots. Castro once joked, "If surviving assassination attempts were an Olympic event, I would win the gold medal." He lived until 2016, age 90. His survival turned him into a legend of resilience. But the CIA's wild plots left a legacy that's, well, wild. From exploding seashells to assassin lovers and mafia schemes. The CIA's campaign against Castro was a bizarre testament to how far clandestine power would go to achieve its goals. Maybe it was paranoia, maybe it was desperation, but it was real, and it raises questions. Where should we draw the line, even in war? Let me know. Which CIA plot shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe, and check out the video linked right here. And as Castro would say, history will absolve me. But will it absolve the CIA? That's for you to decide.